Did you know that the clothes you're wearing right now could be made of plastic? Sounds strange, right? But it's true. Around 60% of the fabric in your closet could be polyester, and this fabric is made from petroleum. Yes, plastic. Every year, 73 million barrels of oil go into making polyester, and it's one of the biggest contributors to microplastic pollution in our oceans. You might think it's just fabric, but polyester is causing serious harm to our planet. It takes 200 years to decompose in landfills, and every time we wash polyester clothes, tiny plastic fibers are released into our waterways. By 2050, there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish, and a lot of that comes from the clothes we wear. In this video, we're going to dig deep into the story of polyester. How did it go from a shiny, cheap fabric to a global environmental crisis? And more importantly, what can we do to stop the damage? Stick around to learn how we can break free from the plastic in our closets and choose clothes that won't harm our planet. Trust me, you'll never look at your clothes the same way again. Chapter 1. The Fabric of Deception. Polyester's Rise to Fame. Polyester has a surprising history. It was invented in 1941 by British chemists John Rex Winfield and James Tennant Dixon. But it wasn't until the 1950s that polyester truly took off. As manufacturers looked for cheaper, durable fabrics, polyester fit the bill. By the 1970s, it was everywhere. This synthetic fabric became a staple in everyday fashion, from shirts to pants and even bedsheets. It's no wonder. It was cheap to make, versatile, and could be mass-produced quickly. At its core, polyester is a type of plastic made from petroleum. In fact, it's the most common plastic-based fabric in the world today. According to a study from the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, around 60% of all fibers used in the fashion industry are synthetic, with polyester making up the lion's share. But what many people didn't realize was the environmental and health costs tied to polyester's rise. Polyester gave us affordable fashion, but at what price? One of polyester's biggest selling points was its ability to mimic natural fibers like silk and cotton. It became the fabric of choice for both high-end and mass-market clothing. In the 1980s, fashion houses adopted polyester blends, making the fabric synonymous with easy-care, low-maintenance clothing. It became so popular that it outpaced cotton production in some regions. Despite its plastic roots, polyester was marketed as a fabric that promised both luxury and longevity. Little did we know, it was a fabric that would become an environmental nightmare. Chapter 2. The Plastic Revolution. How polyester changed everything. When polyester became mainstream, it sparked what we now call the plastic revolution. In just a few decades, fashion began to change. People wanted inexpensive clothing that could be washed without much care. Polyester delivered. But as we embraced polyester, we unknowingly fed the rise of fast fashion. Fast fashion brands took full advantage of this cheap fabric, churning out trendy clothes at lightning speed. In fact, polyester became the backbone of fast fashion. A 2020 report from the Global Fashion Agenda revealed that nearly 87% of all textiles produced worldwide are thrown away, much of it being polyester. When we buy polyester clothes, we often think of them as disposable, and that's exactly how the fashion industry markets them. It's not just about trends, it's about quantity. With polyester's low production cost, brands can offer cheap clothing without worrying too much about the lifespan of the product. Polyester also revolutionized advertising. Marketers sold it as the future of clothing, wrinkle-free, easy to care for, and cheap. But what wasn't advertised was the environmental toll. We didn't know that washing our polyester clothes would release millions of microplastics into our oceans. Studies estimate that every wash of polyester releases about 1/900 microplastics. This means that every time we clean our synthetic fabrics, we're contributing to pollution. Yet, polyester didn't just change fashion. It also changed how we viewed clothing. It encouraged the mindset of buying more, throwing away sooner, and constantly refreshing wardrobes. As a result, the global textile industry doubled in size from 2000 to 2015, and polyester, as the dominant fabric, saw its use soar. Chapter 3. Toxic Threads. The environmental cost of polyester. Polyester is plastic, and plastic takes centuries to break down. In fact, polyester takes about 200 years to decompose in landfills. This means that the polyester garments we toss today will likely still be around for generations to come. But that's not the only issue. Polyester is made from fossil fuels, primarily petroleum. This process requires a significant amount of energy and releases harmful greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. To make matters worse, polyester is often dyed using toxic chemicals, which can end up contaminating water sources. The production of polyester is responsible for about 1.5 billion tons of carbon emissions annually, more than the entire aviation industry. That's a staggering amount. And when polyester fabrics are washed, they shed microplastics, which are too small to be filtered by wastewater treatment plants. These microplastics end up in our oceans, harming marine life and entering the food chain. It's easy to overlook these facts when polyester clothing is so accessible and affordable, but the environmental impact is significant. According to the World Economic Forum, by 2050, there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish. A large portion of that plastic is synthetic fibers like polyester. When we wear polyester, we're not just choosing a fabric, we're choosing a future where plastic is everywhere. Even though polyester makes up about 60% of global fabric production, only 14% of it is recycled. The rest ends up in landfills or is incinerated. This is a major issue because polyester is not biodegradable. As it sits in landfills, it leaches harmful chemicals into the soil, which can eventually contaminate groundwater. These problems are further compounded by the fact that polyester is not an easy fabric to recycle. While some companies have started using recycled polyester, the process is energy-intensive and not always efficient. Instead of creating a sustainable cycle, much of the recycled polyester still ends up as waste, contributing to pollution. If you want to learn more about how you can reduce your impact and make more sustainable clothing choices, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth videos like this one. Chapter 4. The plastic in your closet. How polyester affects you. When you open your closet, you probably don't think about how many plastic fibers are hanging there. Polyester is a synthetic fabric, which means it's made from petroleum-based products. And when you wear polyester, you're essentially wearing plastic. Over time, this plastic can cause health problems, especially since polyester doesn't breathe as well as natural fibers like cotton. For one, polyester can trap sweat against your skin, creating a breeding ground for bacteria. This can lead to skin irritation, rashes, and even allergic reactions. In fact, a study from the University of California found that synthetic fabrics like polyester are responsible for an increase in skin issues like dermatitis. It's not just uncomfortable, it can also be harmful to your health. But it doesn't stop there. When you wash your polyester clothes, tiny fibers break off and go into the water. These microplastics are so small they can't be filtered by wastewater treatment plants. They end up in our oceans, where they harm marine life. Studies have shown that fish and other sea creatures mistake these microplastics for food, leading to poisoning and death. And since these particles are so small, they end up in the food chain, possibly making their way onto our dinner plates. Polyester isn't just bad for the environment, it's bad for our health too. Research from the European Commission has found that synthetic fibers like polyester can leach harmful chemicals, such as antimony, into the air and water. Antimony is linked to respiratory issues and even cancer. Although the levels in polyester fabrics are generally low, they add up over time as more and more polyester is worn and washed. In addition, polyester's durability comes with a hidden downside. The fabric doesn't break down easily in landfills. When polyester ends up in the trash, it can take hundreds of years to decompose. While some companies are trying to create recyclable polyester, only about 14% of polyester garments are actually recycled. The rest sit in landfills or get burned, contributing to more pollution. Chapter 5. From runway to landfill. The end of polyester's life cycle. When you're done with a polyester garment, where does it go? Unfortunately, it likely ends up in a landfill. The problem is polyester doesn't break down. It's a plastic, and plastics can take hundreds of years to decompose. That means the shirt or pair of pants you toss out today could still be sitting in a landfill a century from now. This issue is compounded by the sheer volume of polyester we're consuming. In 2020, the global textile industry produced over 100 million tons of textiles. Of that, a staggering 60% was synthetic, with polyester leading the pack. Each year, millions of tons of polyester garments are discarded, contributing to the ever-growing waste crisis. In fact, the World Economic Forum estimates that by 2050, there will be more plastic in the ocean than fish, largely due to synthetic fabrics like polyester. But the life cycle of polyester doesn't end when it's thrown away. Washing polyester clothes is a major contributor to ocean pollution. When you wash a polyester shirt, it sheds tiny plastic fibers, or microplastics, which end up in the water. A 2017 study found that washing synthetic clothes contributes up to 35% of microplastic pollution in the oceans. This means that every time you clean your polyester clothing, you're helping to pollute our seas. Even when polyester is recycled, it's not a perfect solution. The process of recycling polyester requires a lot of energy, and only a small percentage of polyester actually gets recycled. The rest ends up as waste. So, while recycling efforts are improving, they're still far from solving the problem. The best solution, experts argue, is to reduce our reliance on polyester altogether and move toward more sustainable fabrics. Some brands are beginning to take responsibility. Companies like Patagonia have been leading the way in using recycled polyester in their garments. But the scale of this effort is still small compared to the vast amount of polyester being produced worldwide. To really make a difference, we need a shift towards circular fashion, one where clothing is designed to be reused or recycled, not discarded. Chapter 6. The Green Thread: How to Break Free from Polyester. The good news is that we don't have to keep wearing plastic. There are plenty of sustainable alternatives to polyester that are better for both the planet and our health. One of the most popular alternatives is organic cotton. Unlike conventional cotton, organic cotton is grown without harmful pesticides or fertilizers, and it's biodegradable. It's a fabric that's gentle on both the environment and your skin. Another sustainable option is hemp. Hemp is a natural fiber that's grown with minimal water and no pesticides. It's also strong, durable, and biodegradable, making it a great choice for eco-conscious consumers. Hemp fabric has been used for centuries, and it's making a comeback as a sustainable alternative to polyester. Bamboo fabric is another option gaining popularity. Bamboo grows quickly without the need for pesticides or fertilizers. It's also naturally antibacterial and moisture-wicking, making it a great choice for activewear. Plus, bamboo fabric is biodegradable, which makes it a much better option than polyester. Recycled polyester is also an option, though it's not perfect. Companies like Adidas and Reebok are already using recycled polyester in some of their products, turning discarded plastic bottles into fabric. While this is a step in the right direction, recycled polyester still relies on plastic and doesn't solve the problem of plastic pollution in the long term. Ultimately, the most effective strategy is to reduce our overall consumption of polyester. This means being more mindful of our clothing choices and opting for quality over quantity. Instead of buying cheap, fast-fashion polyester garments, we can invest in well-made, sustainable clothing that lasts longer and has a smaller environmental footprint. It's also important to care for our clothes properly. Washing clothes less frequently, using a microplastic filter in your washing machine, and opting for air drying can help reduce the amount of microplastics that end up in the ocean. And when it's time to let go of a garment, consider donating it or recycling it properly. In the end, breaking free from polyester is about making conscious choices. It's about realizing that every garment we buy has a lasting impact on the environment. By choosing more sustainable fabrics, we can begin to reduce our reliance on polyester and shift toward a more eco-friendly fashion industry. The fabric of the future is green, not plastic. If you found this video helpful and want to learn more ways to make sustainable choices, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the movement towards a cleaner, greener planet.